Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Madeline Nichols.
Good evening, my family, right here. I am very, very excited to be here tonight because we are celebrating some of my heroes. They are behind me because they're receiving awards. They are behind me because they're presenters, and they are among you at the tables. The work we've done really is take my breath away. It has inspired me for years, and I continue to have that as one of my great motivators. Thank you for being here tonight because this is a community, and we are honoring Martha Hill and her commitment to dance education and performances all over the world. I was honored to know Martha Hill, and she became a mentor to me. She was at Juilliard at Lincoln Center, and I was at the New York Public Library in the dance division at Lincoln Center, and she was starting to film the dance performances at Juilliard, and the library was just beginning the filming to preserve choreography, give choreographers a record, something to work with of their works. That was a long time ago. Martha Hill worked in an atmosphere in which other subjects got a lot of resources, and she had to lobby for those resources for dance. And I watched this because I was in a very similar situation in a highly structured organization. She taught me to try to say what I needed to say in 8 words or less. And you will see tonight I flunked. But the dance division didn't flunk. And this year they happened to be celebrating the 75th anniversary of this dance collection. There's an exhibit at the library right now, which if you get a chance to go, it's open until January 25th. It has a scope which you can just skim through. You can look deeply at the part of it. I found it overwhelming, and I was totally familiar with most of the materials being displayed. So I hope you get a chance to go. Tonight is about exceptional work, and our award winners demonstrate that, and that is important for us to recognize because it's motivation for each one of us. You've heard the phrase, good, better, best. The stories you're going to hear tonight are people who somewhere in their lives went for good, no. Better, no. Best, yes. That's what they've gone for. And I'm going to suggest that while you listen to their stories, and as you eat dinner perhaps, that you consider the season we're in. This is a busy time of year. We're beginning to celebrate a lot of things in the next several weeks. It's a busy time. You have a lot of tasks to do. May I suggest that you think of putting them in 2 categories. Category number 1 are things you need to do, but you don't like doing them. You don't want to do them. You delay, you postpone. I'm going to suggest that you hit that with incredible amount of gusto and energy and get some of them done, because once the momentum builds, that will tend to have them go on automatic for you. And then category 2 are things you need to do, and you love doing them. You anticipate with excitement getting them done. Actually, they bring you joy, and isn't that what this season is about? So I'm thinking that as you hear these stories, and you think about your own category 1 items and category 2 items for your own goals, that you will begin slowly to get your category 1 either thought about differently, a new attitude is what you'll bring to them, or they will go over into category 2, which is your joy bucket. And an example of this is our first awards, the Mid-Career Awards. They are to acknowledge exceptional work and also to encourage the next phase of already exemplary careers. So the first awards are to Chanel De Silva and Nigel. Their bios are in your program, and the presentation is going to be on screen. So this is our first on-screen presenter, Lisa Steinberg. She's far-sighted, always. So please, everyone, as you think of the incredible mission that these two have accomplished and are not going backwards, please turn your attention to the monitors.
We're affectionately known as Shanigel. Because we were like, they're one person, they must be one person.
As individuals, Chanel and Nigel have known each other since they were 10 years old. They've shared passions, schools, histories, and as performers, they each have soared in both the United States and abroad, often being muses for some of the most relevant choreographers of our time. For me, what stands out about them is that while having these robust performance careers, their thoughts were also resting on what their home city, New York, needed in the dance field. After hours of speaking, debating, arguing, and I imagine, after knowing them so well, crying, they realized that training for young people who are interested and have potential for dance, but perhaps not having the resource to develop those interests, would be where they should focus and rest their attention. In 2015, Move NYC was born.
We view it as sort of a microcosm of a much broader social movement about access to education.
Mm-hmm. This is both an arts and social justice organization. It is committed and determined to infuse the next generation of the dance field with performers and leaders who are both diverse in their background and in their thinking.
We decided to create access, tuition-free access to high-quality education for our talented New York City youth so that they could get the education they need in order to dance at an elite international level.
Nigel and I believe that if you are talented, motivated, you deserve the chance at high-quality education. You just do.
Over these very few years, this program has already developed and grown into a leading training program for many young people. Students are mentored throughout the year in a variety of ways, including technical training, meeting and speaking with established people in the field, performing and learning what it takes to be a valued member of the arts community, all with the intention of creating the next leaders and performers.
This is not about going into the community and saving the young people. This is about giving them the access that they need so that they can then reach their full potential and save all of us. They're the future.
Literally.
You know?
No,
we need them.
Over these 3 years, I've grown tremendously, and sorry. It's bittersweet because I love the program, and they've pushed me beyond my limits, and I've made family here. And going forward, I know I will keep that family, and I will keep the push that they've taught me to do.
Knowing that what you have is good enough to share is something really important, and I'm gonna always keep that with me. Thank you for being a blessing to my life. And I love you guys, sorry.
Chanel and Nigel, it is a great honor to be presenting this award to both of you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. I'm a millennial, so I'm going to read my speech from my phone. Please pardon me. It is indeed an honor to stand here tonight amongst incredible people and artists who both Nigel and I have revered for most of our pre-professional and professional careers. We call all of you dance royalty. Nigel and I have been side by side for many years, having grown up together at our church in East New York, Brooklyn, having attended our home dance studio, Creative Outlet Dance Studio Brooklyn together. Yes. Having attended both LaGuardia High School and the Juilliard School together. Having become presidential scholars in the arts together. You might be able to see why the world began to call us Shenigel. But little did we know that was just the beginning of what we were destined to do together as a team. In 2013, 2 years before the official founding of Move NYC, I was performing and touring with Trey McIntyre Project, and Nigel was performing with Gothenburg Opera Dance Company in Sweden. I had come to visit him in Sweden, and he and I were sitting in a restaurant unpacking the complexities of our beloved dance community, as we often do. This is when we first began to marvel at the fact that me, this young black woman from East New York, Brooklyn, and him, this young black man from the Bronx, were casually sitting down for burgers in Sweden. Whoa. How did we get here is the question we asked ourselves. How did Nigel get to Gothenburg Opera Dance Company? How did I get to Trey McIntyre Project? To these incredible places in our career? And then an even deeper question began to arise. Why weren't there more people of color in these arenas that we were a part of? Why was I the only black person in Trey McIntyre Project for 6 years, the entirety of the company? Why was Nigel the one black person in the company of 40 people? We asked ourselves, why were there not more women in positions of leadership? These were questions that were coming up often, and we were cracking it open. So after Nigel and I talked for hours and days on end, we came to the conclusion that one of the greatest reasons for our success was that we were blessed with unprecedented access and opportunity during those vital years as a young pre-professional dancer. We have found that this not only means having access to rigorous, high-level physical dance training, that of course is important. However, it is more so the opportunity to be a part of the greater dance community at large, having access to prominent artists who are working in the field today. And clear, guided, focused one-on-one mentorship is what made the difference for us. Nigel and I knew then that if we were going to shift what the dance world looks like at the top, we knew we needed to start from the beginning. We would need to plant the seeds of success much earlier. We would need to start with our youth. Nigel and I made a pledge right then and there to give the very same access and opportunity that we received back to the young dancers of our home, New York City. And we knew that most times what holds primarily people of color back from access and opportunity is money. Thus, every aspect of Move NYC's Young Professionals program is absolutely tuition-free. Nigel and I believe that the only determining factors as to who should have access to training and mentorship is talent and ambition.
So, I am constantly in awe of the community that we are so privileged to be a part of, and how interconnected this web of information and artistry is. Even just in this room alone, looking around, I'm blown away. People who I've known my entire life, people who I've just met, people who have mentored us. As an example of this web, sitting behind us is one of our young professionals, Nihi Koita, who just recently won the National Young Arts Talent Searching Competition with a solo choreographed by this man sitting right over here to my right, Shamel Pitts, who Chanel and I have known our entire lives. Risa Steinberg presented this award to us, and she has been a teacher and a mentor and a friend and an advisor to us since we were 18 years old. And then I look behind me again, and I see the incredible Karen Adams, who was our professor at the Juilliard School, who is sitting next to Robert Battle, who created on us our senior year at Juilliard. From the aspiring to the legendary, we're all connected by the information that we share. And this through line is the most inspiring part of Martha Hill's legacy to me. and something that Chanel and I hope to continue to exemplify and push forward. We have a vision, and oftentimes when we have a vision for the future, a more inclusive future, a future where everyone's story is told and heard at the highest level, a future where the elite rungs of the field look a lot more like the world, it's not always easy. But today here, surrounded by our community, by people who have mentored us and by the young artists we mentor, I am fueled and inspired to forge ahead, knowing that Chanel and I are a cocoon with support from everyone in this room and so many more. Together, we can be the change agents we seek. Together, we can continue to manifest the world we would like to see. It certainly takes a village. It takes each and every one of us. I want to acknowledge publicly that Chanel and I do not do this work alone. We work in tandem with all of the incredible performing arts high schools, studios, and training programs all over New York City. We want to thank all of you for seeing us. 2 kids from the Bronx and Brooklyn who just had each other in a dream. Thank you. This here in this room is a community, this is a family, and this is a legacy. Thank you for inviting us in. Thank you for giving us a seat at the table, and thank you for supporting our work. Please know we intend to deliver on this investment. We'd like to first and foremost thank the Martha Hill Dance Fund, many of whom have known us forever, so thank you. We'd also like to thank Gina Gibney, who heard a crazy idea from 2 dreamers and said yes.
We'd like to thank our teacher and mentor, Risa Steinberg, for having been by our sides when we were 18, loud and crazy, and who still stands valiantly by our sides today. We love you, Risa. And to our families who have been there since we were just running around saying we want to be professional dancers and they didn't understand what we wanted to do. Thank you for supporting us and just letting us do our thing. Thank you to all of our teachers, every last one of our teachers. Many of our teachers are in this room tonight. Thank you so much. And thank you to our community. We do not do this work by ourselves. It is because of our community we were able to birth Move NYC from the ground up. And we are just so humbled and honored to be here tonight. And before I step away, I'd like to say one last thing. Happy birthday, Nigel Campbell. Thank you so much.
I don't worry about this world or the future. I'm happy. Our second mid-career award is to Sean Curran. I don't know about you, but Sean captivates me every time. An on-screen presentation will be made by Lois Welch, who Lois always knows the right path ahead, and she takes it. She has served as Executive Director of 171 Cedar Arts Center, Artistic Director of the Yard, and Director of Dance USA Philadelphia. Please turn your attention to the monitors for the on-screen presentation.
My first memories of Sean Curran are from the mid-1980s. He's tearing up the floor and seducing audiences in one unforgettable performance after another as a principal dancer in the Bill T. Jones Arnie Zane Dance Company. Is it that despite sets, costumes, other dancers, projections, that my eye is always drawn to him? He made the material deeply personal, and he delivered it with a beguiling sense of humor. As a choreographer, his work is motored by musicality. Each project moves his investigations into new territory. I remember awaiting the opening of Dreamed in a Dream at BAM's Harvey Theater. The musicians from Kyrgyzstan are in their places, the dancers are ready, the set is beautiful. What a masterpiece. What wonderful representation of cross-cultural collaboration. Sean talks about art doing its job. Well, art did one of its jobs that night. Sean is one of those people who changes the energy of a room, be it a rehearsal room, classroom, or a meeting room. His steadfast commitment to making meaningful connections with people, inclusively and without judgment, drives his thinking, his creative process, his dancing, and his teaching. Sean, on behalf of the Martha Hill Foundation, I am honored to present you with this Mid-Career Award. Congratulations.
Hello everyone! It is truly an honor to be here with all of you and to be recognized with the Martha Hill Mid-Career Award. Throughout my career I've been known as a dancer and a choreographer. My dances don't tell stories or imitate scenes from life, but I am preoccupied with the human condition, and dance making has always been my way of connecting to others. Asking the question, where do I end? And we begin. But like Martha, a big part of my identity lies in being a teacher. From teaching Irish step dancing to children as a teenager in Massachusetts, to leading master classes all over the world with Bill and Arnie, from working with at-risk students at the wooden floor to serving as chair of the Department of Dance at New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, I've always loved working with young people and passing on the knowledge gained over a lifetime in the arts. It's hard to believe that Martha worked in higher education for over 65 years. Through her incredible generosity, skill, and tenacity, she laid the foundation for dance education programs that have shared this art form with thousands of young artists. Even now, 25 years after her passing, her influence can be felt in college dance programs across the country. Some of you are Martha's former students and have followed in her footsteps to become educators. You know all too well that each day, working with young dancers brings new challenges and struggles, academic, financial, emotional, physical. We do our best to impart Martha's unwavering belief in the transformative power of this art form. We share her commitment to training dancers, not only in technical and performance abilities, but also in ways that foster critical thinking, empathy, leadership, and a sense of responsibility. As dancers, we are fortunate to train together in large groups, learning not just how to be a soloist and principal performer, but also how to work cooperatively as members of an ensemble. In this spirit, I share this award with all of you and look forward to carrying Martha's work forward together, continuing her legacy of nurturing and supporting young dancers on stage and off the stage. I would like to take a moment to recognize dance legend and lifetime Achievement Award winner, Stuart Hodes. That's right. Stuart was my modern dance teacher and the chair at NYU when I arrived as a student in 1980. I fondly remember learning about Louis Horst's 3 classic forms in his composition class, and dancing in a piece Stuart made on students, and how incredible I felt when he gave me a short solo using an Irish cheek step that I had showed him, combined with his own theatrical and movement sensibilities. I'd also like to personally acknowledge Emiko and Yasuko Tokunaga, early and long-time supporters. Yes, Emi and Yasuko, my sisters! Emi and Yasi are early and long-time supporters of mine as a teacher at the Boston Conservatory. I'd like to recognize Heather Walden, a founding member of my company. Yeah. Betsy Coker, my co-artistic director of my company and my colleague and friend at NYU. Andy Tierstein, my colleague. I share an office with Andy, thank goodness. Larry Goldhuber, my longtime friend and former dance partner in the Jones & Company. And since we're here tonight about young dancers, young dance students, I want to just recognize 2 of my NYU Tisch dance rock stars, Elia and Lo, who are changers. They're going to change it for us, right? Thank you to the Martha Hill Dance Fund, to the Honorary Committee, and to all my friends and colleagues for celebrating with me this evening. Thank you very much.
Obviously, our dancers are not only eloquent in performance, but eloquent with words. Now, please enjoy dinner, and we will continue with the program after dessert.
I've known Betty for more than 30 years, and all through that time, and I think for many years before that, she and Fritz have spent their winters in Honolulu. So over the years, she has not lost her common sense, and she's spending this winter in Honolulu. But she did send some words for me to share with you tonight, and I'd like to read them to you. I'm so sorry not to be there tonight, but my heart is with you all. The special dinner arranged for me and Fritz last month at Shun Lee was very lovely. Since all were Juilliard alumni, we felt a real bond, sharing memories of both the Juilliard Dance Division and Martha's efforts to steer her vision into the future. She supported Jose Limon and all his new works that I participated in during the 1950s and 60s, providing him with studio space to rehearse the company. Martha was also unique in the way she not only kept in touch with her former students, but maintained a keen interest in their artistic and academic development. I'm deeply grateful to Martha for engaging Dr. Lulu Swigard to teach anatomy for dancers, as I assisted her for 13 years at Juilliard. Lulu greatly improved my understanding of alignment and had a profound influence on the way I taught. For these and so many other reasons, I'm forever indebted to Martha Hill. And for honoring me with this award dedicated to Martha's memory, I send infinite thanks and lots of love. Betty Jones.
Thank you, Norton. Special thanks. Before we move to our next Lifetime Achievement Award, we have a few words from the president of the Martha Hill Dance Fund. His extended career in dance now has him at the Joyce Theater as director of special events. Please help me welcome Vernon Scott.
Thank you, Madeline, and thank you all for being here. Special thanks to our illustrious awardees and all who are in attendance tonight that, in your generosity, have contributed to this evening's success. As many of you know, for the first time in the history of this event, which began in 2001, tonight we are sold out. I have a little housekeeping to do, but we'll keep it brief. The mission of the Martha Hill Dance Fund is to honor, perpetuate, and reward those who mirror Martha Hill's commitment to dance education and performance worldwide. Amongst our objectives over the last 19 years was to produce a documentary film about the life and successes of Martha Hill. In 2014, this objective was completed. We understand that the film has found its way into the curriculum of a couple of places. I know it's at Juilliard, I think it's at Montclair, and that is gratifying. And we want to thank all those who made that happen, and the director of Juilliard, Alicia Graff. Thank you. Recently, the film was screened in Philadelphia. There was a beautiful reception in the neighboring art gallery and the screening in a most impressive complex, which contains a rehearsal studio and a stage that's the size of City Center, I was told, as well as offices and dressing rooms. Many of you probably know it is called the Performance Garage, and thank you, Gene Ruddy, for that event. For all the work you're doing for dance in Philadelphia and beyond. In the last year, we've begun the brainstorming and researching our idea to create a Martha Hill Dance Fund mentoring program. We're still quite in the midst of pulling it together, what the needs are and how we might fit into the landscape. We have come to the conclusion that the area that we can best contribute to, as there are a few programs out there that are already doing great work, is the moment immediately after college or institutional program where you graduate, where dancers need to enter into the fray of housing, of the job market, of open classes, eating well, stress release, time management, maintaining a healthy body, etc., etc. So by this time next year, at our 20th Martha Hill Dance Fund Gala, we hope this goal will have materialized. And we will continue to reach out to many of you here for your guidance. Now, I would now like to recognize all previous Martha Hill Dance Fund Lifetime Achievement awardees that are here with us this evening. You can just wave or raise your hand, stand up. Daniel Lewis, Paula Maxwell, Alicia Alice Kingston, Owen, Sylvia Waters, Carla, give me a second. Carla Maxwell. In addition, our founding members of the Martha Hill Dance Group, Daniel Lewis is a founding member. Our current chairman, David Mannion, is a founding member right here. Janet Soares, right here, is a founding member. And of course, Carla Adams. Finally, we like to think that our event is a small footbridge to an environment outside the dance studio where it's possible for the students of dance to meet and greet and experience dance performers, teachers, administrators. So tonight, let's make sure the students are seen. So I'm going to just have them stand up when I call their school, because there's a lot. There's a banner year. So we have representatives from Montclair University, New York, Tisch, Purchase College. Then we have Alvin Ailey Fordham. Steps on Broadway. Penn Dance Center. Covino Ballet. Marymount Manhattan College. Brown School, Paul Taylor School, And last but not least, we have a combined kind of a large group, some of which are the first graduates from Move NYC that are now at Juilliard. The Young Arts Foundation finalists that are now attending Juilliard as well. So if you haven't done so already, make sure to speak to these special beings and discuss words said by those that came before us, perhaps. Some oft used, some not. Discuss who said, some we know, discuss who said, dancers are the messengers of the gods. But then also consider who said, dancers aren't pompous, they are too tired. Does anybody else say that? And then who said, there are times when the simple dignity of movement can fulfill the function of a volume of words. Then there was someone who said, everything in dancing is style, illusion, the essence of many thoughts and feelings, the abstraction of many moments. And finally, one that moves me very much, we are never more truly and profoundly human than when we dance. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Excellent. The Lifetime Achievement Award is being presented to Stuart Hodes. One of the wisest among us, I know. Our presenter is Naomi Goldberg-Haas, a leader in understanding communities. She is a master teacher, choreographer, and artistic director of Dances for a Variable Population. She will speak after this video about Stuart Hodes. Please turn your attention to the monitor.
Four months after I took my first lesson, her manager said, would you like to go on tour with the company? And I said, as what? I thought he meant like assistant stage manager. And he said, dancing. I said, I'll quit college tomorrow. I went on that first tour with Martha, not thinking I would stay, but I somehow never got away. Dancing was very exciting, so it was an adventure, and that's why I stuck with it.
I believe dance is a liberal education. I once tried to write it down, dance as a liberal education. And I think, given the time, I could do it. You become a better dancer. not just as you gain technique, but as you gain some idea of why you're dancing. First, you don't need an idea, you just need to do it. But then, everything you know, every sight you see, every different kind of person and experience you have contributes to what you are on stage. And you don't become a mechanical dancer, you become a communicator.
Mr. Stuart Hodes. Stuart is a dancer, choreographer, dance teacher, dance educator, administrator, author, and inspiration for all of us who move, and whether it is across the stage or through life. As many of you know, before Stuart was a dancer, he was a bombardier in World War II. He flew a B-17 Flying Fortress and likes to say he wasn't too afraid because on every mission he knew the entire US of A was in the cockpit with him giving his support. I like to think that it was high up there at an altitude of 25,000 feet that Stuart first realized, and this is quoting, "From atoms to galaxies, the universe dances." That's the first line of Stuart's luminous book entitled The Map of Making Dances. In it he tells us that when the universe was created, perhaps at 15 billion in the Big Bang, 15 billion years ago, time and space were created too. When you come right down to it, time, space, and a dancer are all that it takes to make a dance. And with that simple philosophy, Stuart has been dancing, making dances, and inspiring people to follow in his literal footsteps for over 70 years. Stuart came into the life of my company, Dances for a Variable Population, in the fall of 2015. I asked him to be one of the guest artists for our project called the Phoenix Project, which celebrated older choreographers and performers. Stuart had a wealth of moves and ideas to share with us, including his daily routine of balance exercises, which he set to music. This simple suite of exercises was so suffused with the joy of life, we asked that he wouldn't mind sharing it with our audiences. Well, as with anything that Stuart does, this workout of his became the hit of the concert. How could it not? After all, it radiated with Stuart's irrepressible spirit, which is one of the most beautiful and infectious forces known to mankind. Stuart would start these movements with our young dancers of our company, and soon audiences of all ages were joining in the dance in a variety of public spaces from the Bronx to the West Village. The next year, I asked Stuart to create a dance with her students at the George Roots Library in West Harlem, most of whom were in their 70s and many of whom were recent immigrants. Stuart can cajole and inspire anyone to dance. One of our senior Chinese American dance students wrote to me, "The first time I do dance was in this library, this 25th Street Library. I met Stuart Hodes, a 92-year-old choreographer, dancer, dance teacher. I came to just listen and listen to his talk about senior people's activities, especially dance. But before I knew it, he went and divided the people into groups to perform, and he said, just listen to the music and pick a topic and dance. I was in shock. I did just what he said, and I started dancing. And after my part was done, I heard clapping, and I don't remember what I had done. It was the first dance experience of my life. And now I dance regularly, I do dance, and I really enjoy it. From now on, I'm going to work harder, practice more, be good at it for myself. I want to be good at dancing." That's what Stuart does in a nutshell. He makes you want to be the best you can be. No one knows this better than his daughters, Ren and Martha, who shared these thoughts with me. From our father, we learned unconditional love and generosity of spirit, never-ending curiosity, how to tell a good story and how to be a good teacher. Boiled, sliced tongue is delicious. Men and boys are graceful and beautiful. Women and girls are strong and beautiful. There's always something new to learn. Being a parent is a privilege, a joy, and the highest responsibility. Growing old is a great adventure. Money isn't everything, dreams are everything. Many others have written with great appreciation of his confidence, voice, and love of human spirit that they learned from Stuart. I would like to end this little speech with some thoughts, again, from his beautiful book, A Map of Making Dances. This is from a chapter entitled, What Does a Dance Do? A dance evokes, elicits, stimulates, enlivens, quickens, vivifies, excites, stirs, provokes, awakens, kindles, arouses, opens, expands, enriches. In short, dance does what Stuart has done his whole life. Everyone who has had the great joy and privilege to know and experience him can attest to this, and we are all forever grateful for his inspiration. He has forever changed our art form and our lives. We love you, Stuart. We love you, Stuart.
I asked Vernon about 2 weeks ago if he could do me a really small favor. Hold this event on Wednesday. Because it's my 95th birthday. I just want to tell you a little story. I knew a man in about 1950, 51. He lived in the same loft building where I lived in. His name was Paul Matic. He's on the internet. I mean, you can look him up on that thing they had where he goes. And he was an ardent, he come from Germany. He was an ardent anti-Nazi, and he was lucky to escape with his wife and his baby. And he's also a political theorist. We were talking one day, and I said, well, I'm off to work. He said, you don't work, you dance. I said, dancing is work? He said, no. It's not work, it's effort. Work is effort that leads to a product. You produce nothing. I produce dancing. He says, put it here. I said, there are many things you can produce, but you can't hold in your hand, such as, I said, love. So he sort of paused and said, well, I don't need dance. Which revealed a flaw in his reasoning. The problematic work was only effort that produced a product that he personally needed. I need dance, and I would assume everyone in this room needs it too. I need it for a lot of reasons, but the first one, or the one that comes to me, or came to me when I was writing this, was magic time. How many of you have heard that expression? Anybody heard magic time? You gotta have heard of it. Well, when you go on stage, I mean, even the most tired old Broadway show, we'd be sitting there, I remember it was approaching, and the dance captain would say, get up kids, it's magic time, and you all go on stage, and on stage is where the magic happened. Something happened. And we became something else. We danced. I can't still tell where that energy came from, but it's magic, so it's magic time. Magic is an intensification of life. A moment when you are completely absorbed in what you're doing. I believe that animals, cats, dogs, butterflies, live their whole lives in magic time. Dance is not the only way you can experience magic time. I experienced it competing and training and swimming in high school, playing and listening to music, and I didn't bring it with me, but I had a class in Forge in high school, and Brooklyn Tech, by the way. And I made a gate hook. You know how they are, a little loop. And I made this out of a hunk of metal, a little hunk of metal, a hammer, a hot fire, and an anvil. And making, I still have it. Why I didn't bring it with me, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. You can imagine a gate hook. It's a crude gate hook, but I got a bee in it. I did not get in it. But it was marvelous to make it. So people who make things, experienced magic time too. I experienced magic time when I first flew an airplane by myself. And that was in the Army. And after that, it would come and go. You don't always experience magic time. I cannot remember dancing without it happening. But flying, it does happen often enough to make people want to be pilots. I wanted to dance more. Dancing is like flying, except you do not need an airplane. So I stand here after getting an award for having had the luck to have lived my life in dance. The last person to put me to work and actually pay me to be a dancer was Naomi. The first person who ever put me to work and paid me to be a dancer was Martha Graham. Martha Graham was a trip. I didn't write this down, I don't know over my 4 minutes. But I remember I was in the company about a month and a half, and she was on one side of this huge room that they gave us to warm up in, and I was on the other. And she caught my eye, which was like, you can come over and talk to me. And I went over and said to her, Martha, I realized something. She said, what's that? I said, you're not a saint. And she said, congratulations. I've written a whole book about her. I've been writing this book for about 40 years. It's going to come out in April. The title is On Stage with Martha Graham, and I hope you'll look it up. It's even going to be on Amazon, for God's sake. I want to express my deep gratitude to the Martha Hill Fund and all its board of directors, everybody associated with it, for this unexpected yet very welcome honor.
I knew we were going to be motivated and raised, thank you, in our expectations of what's possible. And our magic time is going to continue now. A Lifetime Achievement Award will be presented to Carolyn Adams. Air and leaping to me ever since I saw her dance at City Center. Robert Battle, our presenter, hails from Miami's New World School of the Arts under Danny Lewis, and he's a graduate of the Juilliard School where he met his mentor, Carolyn Adams. Robert is a noted choreographer, as you know, the founder of his own company, Battle Works, and was chosen by Judith Jamison to become only the third leader of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. Robert has, for a long time, been big, but he's grown even bigger and ever humble. A wonderful combination. He will speak after this video. Please turn your attention to the monitors.
Good evening. I mean, I just have to stop to say, I mean, I cannot acknowledge how many people are here who are responsible for my own little career. But I can't go into that, it's not your time. But just know that I acknowledge you, and to feel that round of applause, and to think that I wanted to take a different course because we've been saying such nice things about people. I wanted to say some negative ones about Carolyn. And so, I hope you'll indulge me. I mean, the one bone that I have to pick with her is that she's so damn positive. Right? Just when you want to luxuriate into your can't-do attitude, right? She always has a solution. Always another side, and sometimes you just want to be a fabulous pessimist. But we forgive you. We forgive you for that. Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to be with you all tonight for such a great occasion. I have to do a brief background to set up my story about our relationship, so if you have 2 or 3 hours, and then I'll get into the speech. Kidding. Some people really panicked, I heard it. My first year at Juilliard was only slightly intimidating. I was a bit shy and had never really left Miami home for any significant amount of time. What would I make of New York, of the legend that is Juilliard? Well, to start, I remember arriving, and that's before we had the dorms. We were at the YMCA on 63rd Street, bless our hearts. And I remember somebody greeting me to help me with my luggage. She was my RA. Her name was Audra McDonald. Well, in all fairness, that is not pertinent to the story, but when you have a name, drop it. All right. In my first year, you know, there is now, Juilliard folks, you can attest to this, that you go back to the basics, right? Oh. So they want to take, right? Look, somebody, okay, can I get a witness? So, the question is, what is a true contraction? Or what truly is your range of turnout, and do you have any at all, without the help of rosin? But anyway, it is of course necessary, but it can be a little bit deflating. Speaking of deflating, what did you mean by big? Okay. Anyway, never mind. Then, in my second year, I walked into Carolyn's class, and the way that she described movement and the way she conceptualized dance made me sit up and take notice. Everything she was saying was already in my head and in my heart. I felt, in a word, validated. I felt safe to go deeper. She put words to my innermost feelings. I didn't feel as though I was merely operating under a deficit. I knew that I was going to be all right. I remember watching a documentary on the great late actress, Bea Richards, who said, and I think this captures what I felt in her class, a teacher told her that you have everything you need, lacking no essential characteristic. Perfect, maybe not yet realized, but perfect. I also knew in an instant that this relationship with Carolyn would be about more than dance. Indeed, it continued after Juilliard. My first job was with the Parsons Dance Company, where she sat on the board. Is that how I got in? I just wondered. Okay. I never asked you that, but anyway, we'll talk. And also, being invited to residencies at NISA in Saratoga, which provided support and safety to my choreographic efforts and connected me with brilliant artists committed to making a difference in the field. Also, she was my mentor for a program at Joy Soho, thanks to Joanne Robinson Hill, who's right there. And so when I got the job, well, when you get a job like this, you just say, got the job. And I think you know what I mean. Anyway, one of the first things I knew I wanted was for Carolyn to teach at the Ailey School. She was just finishing her tenure at Juilliard, and because she does so much in terms of advocacy for the field, I knew she wasn't necessarily looking for a gig. But as she says to me, what truly convinced her is when I said, I want my students to get what I got. I also knew that in taking on this new role, I had a not-so-secret weapon that was and is Carolyn Adams. That is why I'm so honored to be here tonight, because as so much has been said about Martha Hill, but the tacit fact is, if there was no Martha Hill, we may have never met. So our journey continues. And lastly, I like to say that because, you know, I went to church where the preacher could preach for about 3 hours. And so I say lastly, like we're going to bring it to a close. Amen? Lastly, I'd like to say that beyond our conversations about dance or some speech that I have to write, and yes, I did ask her to write this one, but she said no. We both appreciate hearing and telling a good joke. Often she will call me with the same serious tone in which she will talk about dance, and she will say, "Call me back, I have a joke." I would like to tell 1 or 2 of those jokes tonight, but they are not for mixed company. But if you get a discreet opportunity, ask her to tell you the one about the hairdresser and the Pope. As I leave you to ponder that, I would like to say, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present the Martha Hill Lifetime Achievement Award to my awesome quintessential friend, Carolyn Adams.
Very large spot. Thank you so much to the entire board and selection committee for this enormous honor. When Vernon called me last March, he left a message on my machine saying to call him back, that he had some exciting news for me. I immediately thought he was going to tell me that someone had made a huge donation to the foundation, and I was being asked to help work on some fabulous education initiative. Count me in. That, in fact, was not the reason for his call. And so here we are, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be here. I can't see the picture. I could tell the joke about the hairdresser. Thank you, Robert, for what you told these people about me, as well as what you didn't tell them. Yes, indeed, we have Martha Hill to thank for our relationship. I don't remember when I first met Martha. It's as if she was always there in my dance life. My teacher and mentor, Bessie Schoenberg, spoke of her frequently with the greatest of admiration. And all of Bessie's students at Sarah Lawrence could discern by Bessie's tone and inflection which Martha she was referring. Now, it's fairly obvious that I would not be standing before you tonight were it not for Paul Taylor, who trusted me with his dances for nearly 2 decades, and also had the wisdom to hire this man behind me, who became my husband 31 years ago. I like to believe I danced my way into his heart, but I know he stole mine when he got off the elevator for his audition. My swan song with the Taylor Company took place on May 2nd, 1982. It was my sister Julie's 40th birthday, so the after parties stretched well into the night with lots of cake. The following morning, the phone rang and it was Martha Hill. Now, I don't do great impressions. Robert could probably do a great job of this. You should hear his Ben Harkarby. But I will try to capture her language pattern. She said, "Carolyn, dear, first of all, congratulations on your stellar career with the Paul Taylor Company. But now I imagine you have more time, and I'm wondering if you would consider coming to Juilliard to teach for us." Of course I said yes, and remained for 26 years. Martha was indeed a role model. I often likened her to 2 other heroic characters in my life, Bessie Schoenberg and my mother Olive.
Three women of a remarkable generation who were decisive and reflective at the same time, who showed wisdom and compassion, often mitigating an iron will. Bedrocks in stylish garb, they constantly reminded us that you can stand your ground without losing your cool. I am grateful to have had them in my life. Julie is teaching a dance history course at Brown right now and has chosen to focus on Martha Hill and her accomplishments. Her description of Martha is so perfect I'd like to share it with you. She says, though the time was right in the 1930s to support and nurture the nascent field of modern dance, the opportunity could have been missed had Martha Hill not been the right person in the right place at the right time. This pivotal historical moment might have eluded someone with less vision, less tenacity, less selflessness, less courage, and less patience. She was in it for the long haul and continued to carry the field forward with bravery and imagination until her death. Though Martha is not here to see it, were it not for her, the field of dance as we know it would not exist. I also have some younger role models. 3 years ago, when Olive died at the age of 103, Julie and I had to face the reality that we were now the adults. Better late than never. Both of our parents were prolific writers, so I began going through Julie's library and both of their writings. Rob then suggested I start organizing my own papers. In doing so, I ran across a document entitled My Philosophy of Dance and Education. As I read it, I became shamelessly self-congratulatory. This is really good stuff. Then I got to the bottom of the page and it said, submitted by Ruth Andrian. After a deflated moment, I recaptured my sense of joy and good fortune to have such dear friends with great minds and hearts. When I left the Taylor stage, I realized that my other calling was teaching. It wasn't just because of the knowledge I gained working with a master and dancing master loops. It was because my new calling was about teaching people, not steps. Not about getting people to dance like me, but to discover themselves while dancing. At that time, Rob and I adopted our children. I had already been blessed with two nieces, Laura and Marie, two remarkable women whose parents, Julie and Josiah, trusted me to love them well, enriching my life immeasurably during my childless years. By the time our children arrived, Rob and I were old, and they were teenagers. We wanted to love, guide, nurture, and release them, not self-replicate. Our daughter, Sandra, is mothering her child as she should have been mothered. Our son is here tonight, and for him I have three names: Vitali, Son, S-O-N, and Sun, S-U-N, because his future is bright as well, and he has helped me become a mother. As parents, our message to you young people here tonight is similar to our message to our children. Take the best, forgive the rest. You're responsible for your own success and happiness. We relish your moving forward, but we got your back. When I watch my students emerge as great artists and become magnificent teachers, I think, how is it that I got to watch all of that happen? We don't need to be replicated. We need you to be our leaders, and we need to be your followers. That is my fondest wish. When you're offered a Lifetime Achievement Award, it makes you reflect on your life. I believe my lifetime achievement is gratitude. Gratitude, like love, is as much a verb as a noun. It involves active receiving, seizing opportunities, recognizing the self-nurturing aspects of giving and sharing. These are priceless human transactions which make us whole, humble, triumphant, joyful, and thankful. And so I thank you.
There are no adequate words
and I just feel joy being here and having heard from our speakers tonight. Thank you for joining in the celebrations. Obviously, I enjoyed chaperoning you through the evening. And I want to add my thanks to the organizers of tonight's celebration and all of the board of the Martha Hill Dance Fund. Thank you for your work on behalf of dance. One of the board members, Dr. Alan Maneker, is going to give a few closing remarks. I will say good evening, have joy, and remember your category 1 and category 2. Please help me welcome Alan Maneker.
Thank you. So on behalf of all of the board of the Martha Hill Dance Fund, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, for supporting the legacy and the memory of the remarkable woman Martha Hill. And also on behalf of the entire board, I want to once again congratulate all of our awardees for their inspiration and the contribution that they've given to the world of dance, and hopefully one last round of applause for them. Many years ago, when Miss Hill was well into her 90s, my husband David and I took her out to a theatrical event. Afterwards, we went to dinner and had a bite to eat. And when we came out onto the sidewalk of the restaurant, she turned to us and said, "Now, if you could direct me towards the subway." And I sort of looked incredulously, and on one of the few occasions, I said, "Martha, it's really not safe for you to ride the subway at this hour." It was near midnight. New York was a different place then. And with all due respect to Carolyn Adams, Martha Hill's deer could last many minutes. And for those of you who actually knew her and knew how she spoke, I will not repeat it here, but she turned to us and said, "No, dear, I'll be fine." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yes, because in the past, I used to read my book on the way home on the subway. But now, I look around and I stay very alert." And I said, "That's great." And we hailed a taxi to her doorstep and saw her safely to her home in Brooklyn Heights. So, for those of you that are taking the subway home, for those of you that are taking the bus, for those of you that are walking, for those of you that are taking an Uber or a Lyft, we bid you good night and a safe trip home. Thank you all for coming.